Welcome to Oshkosh's EAA. Enjoy the videos and subscribe.
all does it.
It is so encouraging each and every day. And generally without that sound of freedom, I hate to think of where we would be, but we would be celebrating EAA in Oshkosh.
And speaking of celebrations, you know that 2017 is a big year for our Air Force and the Mighty 8. 70 years of celebration of providing air power for our nation, and 75 years for the Mighty 8th Air Force.
What a history, Mighty 8.
For me, I'd always dreamed of coming to Oshkosh, and I never thought that would be in the B1 and performing an air show. It's really been a dream come true. I've gotten, over this past week, I've gotten a lot of folks to come up to me and saying, hey, thank you for your service, and I'm really appreciative of that. But it truly is, it has been an honor and a privilege to go out and be our nation's sword and going after the enemy as appropriate, because we know that we have enemies out there that will not stop until they either take care of us or we take care of them. So thank you for allowing me to be one of your B1 pilots. It is a true honor, and I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. Thank you very much.
From Avon Park, Florida, Hansel Rebel. He is a B1 instructor. His call sign is Cheese. And Matt Bashad is a squadron commander with the B2. His call sign is Hammer. Come on out. Well, I'm going to start asking questions. I'm sure you have lots of questions as well. We have a microphone down in the front center aisle, and if you have a question, just come on down and we'll get that answered. Remember, nothing that is classified or top secret. All right. So we'll start with Cougar. How old are you?
If you can believe it, 32.
32. What does it feel like to fly an airplane that's 25 years older than you are?
You know, not really any different. I flew the T6 before I came here. I was what we call a first assignment instructor pilot, and I had the pleasure of picking up a T6 from the factory, and it still had the new car smell in it. And I had no less hesitation going out to fly B-52 than I had of flying a brand new airplane. They keep it going really well. It means it's really good. Their mission capable rate's really high, even though it's one of the oldest airplanes that we have. So I'm extremely confident in going out and employing it.
So pretty much what you're saying is that your son or daughter could be flying a B-52?
I would wager all the money in my bank account the last B-52 crew member hadn't been born yet.
That's amazing. And everybody's still around and still performing. Well, Chiefs, I almost hesitate to ask what's behind the call sign. Is that classified or not?
No, it's definitely not.
Okay.
I was sitting in a B1 one day, and maintainers were working hard, as they usually do, to fix a certain issue we were having. And I looked at my instructor. I was pretty young in the B1 at the time, and I said, "Hey man, who do you think people will say I look like?" And this is a true story. People have told me I look like Vin Diesel. I don't agree with them, but he said, "I don't know, so and so, so and so." And I said, "No." He goes, "Who?" I said, "Vin Diesel." He just looked at me and he's like, "You are just dumb. You don't look like him at all. You look like Cheese from the movie Old School." Dean Pritchard on that movie. So I had to go on YouTube, but I didn't know what he was talking about.
And it stuck.
Yes, sir.
And you were flying the B-1, the last swing wing design in the Air Force. Tell us a little bit about that.
B-1 is an amazing airplane to fly. As large of an aircraft it is surprisingly nimble. We get a lot of questions about the wing sweep. When can we sweep the wings? What air speeds? We'll have the wings forward for takeoff, so we can take off shorter distances, slower air speeds. And then when we start getting closer to about 0.8 Mach, we'll start sweeping the wings back to about 45 or 55 degrees of wing sweep to employ at our normal 0.85 Mach. And then if we really want to get going somewhere, we can pull the wings all the way back to 67.5 degrees and go up to 1.2 Mach. And it's a blast. We burn at that speed up to 300,000 pounds of fuel an hour.
Wow. And Hammer, how are you this evening?
Just fine, sir, thanks.
All right, we saw that gorgeous B-2 flyby earlier today. By the way, these guys were all on the ground. The crews that flew that airplane had other duties, but I'll bet you really would have rather been up there than down here, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a great day to be here at Oshkosh. I grew up actually coming to this. My dad's a pilot, and he brought me along, and I remember crawling around in the Warbirds area. And, great story I remember being at Oshkosh. I got away from my dad, and I was crawling around a P-47 where I shouldn't have been, and the pilot was walking around, and he ended up kicking me accidentally, and clearly it was my fault. I shouldn't have been there. But this guy felt so bad about kicking me and knocking the wind out of me, I got to sit in the thing. And I'll tell you what, it was one of the biggest days of my life. And I remember my dad was looking around for me, and he looks up in the airplane, and I'm barely looking over the canopy, we were waving at him. And so I got great memories about Oshkosh, and I'm really happy to be part of the Bomber Day and actually share this memory with my wife and my daughter that are out there. And so I got little Molly with me. She just turned 9 years old, and we talk about, young people coming into the Air Force and gonna fly. We've had some fathers and sons that have both flown the B-2. And it's really neat to see that in the program, but I'm not trying to push Molly one way or another, but I wouldn't mind if we were the first father-daughter team to fly the B-2.
That would be great. And we'll start out with a question from down front. Go ahead, step up to the mic.
Hi, my name is Laura Meeks, Major U.S. Air Force, retired, had a career in Strategic Air Command back when they had that. When I was in Strategic Air Command, we had retrofitted the wings at the 10,000 hour mark, and they're still flying. So what's the plan? When are we gonna buy a new jet?
On the Buff, the B-52?
Right.
Thanks, Laura, good question, I'll take that one. Yeah, I bet Curtis LeMay's rolling over in his grave a little bit when I'm going to say this, but because he wanted to replace the B-52 back in the mid-60s. We think the airplane will fly through the 2050. We've done the right things to it. Remember, much of the life of the B-52 was on alert. So while it's older in age, it's got a whole lot of life left in it. It's a modern marvel. The people who designed this airplane knew what they were doing. It's got a lot of capacity. We are going through multiple upgrades right now to bring it into the 21st century. They can talk specifically with the avionics and its ability to communicate outside the cockpit with other planes. We're doing an upgrade. It's called the Internal Weapons Bay Upgrade 1760. It's going to be able to carry more weapons, more internally. We're going to replace the radar with 21st century radar. We're going to put it on Link 16, which is to communicate with other aircraft. We're working very hard to re-engine the B-52, and all these initiatives will ensure that its viability through 2050, and it's one of a kind, and it's just the backbone of our bomber fleet, to be completely candid with you. So the plan is to keep the B-52. We now have approval, and we are well into building a new bomber called the B-21 Raider, named after the Doolittle Raiders. And we hope to deliver the first B-21 in 2025. I know that sounds a long time to you, but it's dog years to us. And we're going to have a new bomber starting in the mid-20s, 25, and that'll be carrying us on into the future. So did I answer your question?
Can I add one thing, Bob?
Sure.
So the B-52 average age is about 53 years old. And would you all agree that the B-52 out here looks phenomenal? So,
And we'll thank those guys sitting down there.
the B-52 maintainers could stand up for me.
Yeah.
You all know that when you go fly an airplane, it looks that good. That is 53 average years old. It's not by accident, it's not by chance. It's because of the professionalism, hard work, and dedication of men and women that maintain it.
Gentlemen, talk a little bit about the different roles that each of your aircraft play within the Air Force.
All right, so the B-2 is obviously brings some unique characteristics to the bomber fleet and to the combat air force, just with our stealth and payload and our long range. One of the things we work and concentrate a lot in the B-2 community is how do we integrate not only with the other bombers, but all the other combat air forces, and whether it's kinetic or non-kinetic. So really our role in the B-2 is to help break down integrated air defenses and help open up the way that we can bring in the technology and the advantages that the B-1 and B-52 bring to the fight over the B-2. It may pain some of my B-2 buddies to tell them that we're not the only game in town, and we know we have a role. So certainly we want to try to do the best we can to leverage our stealth technology to get in, do what we need to open up the door for the integrated air defenses to be rolled back slightly so we can get these guys in with what they bring to the fight and continue on with the strategic objective. Now that's the pointy end of the spear stuff. The other part of it that we all share is the deterrence part of it. So I'm the squadron commander of the formal training unit out there, and I'll tell you, we put 16 to 17 people a year through our training program, and it's just as important for us to train them on how to fly the airplane, but also for them to learn that we work in deterrence because of our readiness and what we bring to bear and the threat of that. And if it's not credible, then there is no threat. Deterrence is not going to be where it needs to be for us. So that's where the B-2 roles fit in, but certainly we work together with the B-52 and the B-1. We integrate at large force exercises, at weapons school, which is one of our premier tactical schools you can go to as an aviator, and also as tactical experts through intel and space. And we work with all these people to bring these advantages, which each airplane brings, into a synergistic package that we can go out there and achieve our goals as a tactical community. So, you know, we wouldn't do it alone without the B-1s and the B-52s, and it's an honor to be up here with these folks to represent the bombers as a whole.
For the B-1, Hammer hit the nail on the head.
That was not planned, I promise you.
But no, the integration is the key word he used, and the neat thing that the B-1 brings to integrating in a force package or in a strike package is our ability to go fast with the other fast flyers, like our escort, or any standoff jammers, other platforms, whether it be within the Air Force or maybe the Navy or any other branch of the military. And while we do that, while we integrate with a force package like that, going at the same speed as everybody else, we can carry 24 2,000-pound GPS-guided weapons. The 2,000-pounders can knock the ever-living out of almost anything. And to carry 24 of them is just immense firepower that we bring to the fight. We usually, in a traditional role, might employ with a two-ship of B-1s. So take that 24 2,000-pounders, and now you've got 48 2,000-pounders. And it's just amazing what that power brings to the air war. In addition to that, we also are able to carry 24 of our JASM cruise missiles that can fly long distances and are very smart weapons. And again, you integrate a two-ship of B-1s, now you have 48 of those cruise missiles flying to potentially up to 48 different targets from a nice distance away. So, like Cameron said, integration is the big key there. Plus our standoff weapons capability, just like the B-52 and the B-2 brings to the fight as well.
I'm going to brag a little bit on the B-52 here. A copy of one of my buddy's Kilo's been telling everybody all week is we're big into the deterrence and assurance business. And when the B-52 goes somewhere, it's not stealth like a B-2, but you know it's coming, and that's kind of the point. So we kind of really are the long stick of the Air Force. We go long range, we'll fly anywhere, anytime, and carry weapons there, and let everyone know that we're there to support our allies or assure everyone what's going on in the world. So the B-52 kind of fits in that sense, and other countries respond when we move a B-52 around the world. They want to know what's going on. So we're there, and we've been around for a long time. People know what the B-52 can do. So that's how we kind of fit in, and along with all this other stuff. We're conventional as well. We can do, if the Air Force has it, we carry it. We can do counter-sea. We do a lot of stuff with mines, and practice that out when we're out in Guam. We can do JASM, JDAM, everything as well. So we can bring anything to the fight. And with all the weapons upgrades General Rand talked about, we're going to be in the business for a long time coming.
I like to say that we are in the business of lethality, and business is good.
Let's talk a little bit about technology and how that has changed. Obviously, crew numbers. In B-17, we had 10 crew members in World War II. Now we're down to just 2 in the B-2. So how has technology kind of progressed through this to change the way you deploy the airplane?
So in the B-52, when it was first designed, had 6 crew members, aircraft commander and a co-pilot, radar navigator, who's the bombardier, and navigator, electronic warfare officer, and a gunner. We've since removed the gun from the airplane. I think 1994 was when we got rid of it, and the last gunner went the way of the dinosaur. And so we now have a crew of 5. We got rid of the gunner, and I got a little bit jealous sometimes because CRM is one of the things that takes a lot of work in the B-52. Teaching in the schoolhouse, everyone how to talk to everyone on the airplane. We have 3 radios, and we're getting more with the Connect upgrade, and then 2 intercoms and a private with a box hot talk. It gets confusing really quick, and you don't understand how much communication happens non-verbally. The only person I can see in the left seat is the co-pilot. So if somebody's downstairs getting frustrated or pounding on his keyboard, then I don't know it unless he speaks up and tells me. So we kind of advanced a little bit in the B-1. I'll let Cheese talk about that.
Yeah, for the B-1, we'll employ with 2 pilots and 2 weapons systems operators, WSOs or WISOs. The 2 pilots, we fly the aircraft and make sure we're pointed at the right direction, right location. Make sure we get the aircraft on a nice platform for weapons delivery. A lot of the work does happen in the back. I'll give the WISOs a credit. So they are our OSO, our offensive systems operator. He'll sit in the right seat in the back, and they're interchangeable. Any day they could swap as appropriate. But He does all the weapons programming, building the targets, running the sniper pod, lasing weapons on vehicles or whoever. And meanwhile, the DSO, he's backing him up if we have a permissive environment where we may not be as threatened, or if we are going into a more contested environment, he's defending the aircraft. So he'll tell the pilots if we need to go this way, or if we need to speed up, go supersonic, etc., and throw out chaff and flare to defeat the threat. That being said, about half of our B1 fleet right now has gone through the Integrated Battle Station upgrade, or SB-16 upgrade, for the avionics inside the airplane. What that capability provides, it allows us as pilots to be able to see more clearly and easily what the WIZZOs are doing in the back, in order to better back them up and utilize enhanced CRM, crew resource management, as Cougar mentioned. In addition, it also allows us to integrate better with other players on Link 16. We can see our wingman's fuel state just by hovering our cursor over them. We can see where our escort is. We can see just the capability that brings to the fight, and the integration allows us to be able to have more situational awareness and increase our survivability and the chances of the success of the mission for the B1 as well as the entire strike package.
So the B2 obviously just has 2 crew members, but some of you may know this. There's actually, originally when it came out, there was going to be 3. There's still a 3rd hatch. If you look at the top of the airplane on the right-hand side, there's still a 3rd hatch there for a 3rd ejection seat that never got put in to the aircraft. The other thing that's unique about the B2 is that when you go up for a flight with Delta or American, everybody knows that the captain sits on the left side, right? So that's the point of the mission commander sits on the left side. Well, in the B2, it's actually different. The mission commander sits in the right seat. So the person who's in charge of the B2 sits in the right seat, and the pilot in the left seat and the mission commander in the right seat can do both jobs exactly the same. So we have access to everything we can control from the airplane, from weapons to flying the airplane, we can do in either seat. The only thing you can do from the left seat that you can't from the right seat is you can raise and lower the landing gear over there. So you probably could do it from the right seat if you unstrapped and literally had to do a step over and raise the gear, but that's how we divide the airplane up. So the person on the left seat is a pilot. Their primary role is to make sure that the aircraft is in position, not only for the package, but also to make sure we're on time and we're a stable weapons platform. The person in the right seat is the mission commander. Their job is to manage all the weapons, run the radar, and then integrate off platform. One of the things that we're mentioning up here as we talk about integration, we talk about Link 16. It's a tactical data link that has been on the B2 for a couple of years. It's been huge in terms of building our situational awareness about what's happening not only with the good guys but also with the bad guys. And learning that tool and how to integrate it across 4 people or more in different airplanes is challenging. And we've had some growing pains in the early days when we got it on the airplane, but we've overcome that with good CRM. We have the benefit of the B2 to be able to look at each other, and literally hand signals and things like that come into play because we're so busy listening to the communications that are going on. We can monitor anywhere between 3 to 4 radios, and then in the B2 we have a system that allows us to get email. So we actually can get email from command and control all the way back down at Barksdale or whoever's in the loop, and we can get direction from those systems. So you can understand that when you're going on a 30 to 40 hour mission and you're getting emails about changes to things, there's got to be a lot of communication between the mission commander in the right seat and the pilot. So there isn't anything that doesn't happen in the airplane that both people don't understand and know about and know how that's going to impact not only their flight but the formation and the rest of the strike package. So yes, technology has really brought in a lot of change. There's no doubt about it, and we would certainly rather bring a B2 or a B1 or a B52 with a smaller number of crews and the ability to strike multiple targets in one pass into the fight. but it has given us some challenges. So that's something that we're constantly looking to innovate with, whether it be Link 16 or we get some sort of new email system. And I'll be honest with you, you know how confusing it is when you get a text message, right? And you just don't even understand. So we've had to standardize how we send emails. It's little things like that that we've had to innovate with this technology to make it more lethal.
Why we fly
So,
long and why we have to have one of them.
Many of you may be familiar in January when we did a B-2 strike from the United States into Libya and back to Missouri. If you heard about that strike, raise your hand. Okay, so a couple points to that. First of all, to General Lewis's and Don's point, we don't do anything anymore without total force integration. So in the B-2 community, we have a physically and functionally integrated Air National Guard wing, the 131st Bomb Wing, that's connected by the hip with the 509 Bomb Wing flying the B-2. So our maintainers, our operators, and our weapons loaders, everybody's integrated. Air traffic control, everything in that mission is integrated. In the combat mission we flew this year to Libya was an integrated crew. So active duty guard, both in the cockpit, maintaining the jet, launching the jet, and loading the jet. And we have the same relationship with the reserves down in the 307 and building up a new unit at DIAS with the B-1s. So just so you know, whenever we do anything nowadays, it's a total force integration with active duty guard and reserve. Specific to the B-2 and long duration flight. So that's the bread and butter of long range bombers, is the ability to leave the United States, go anywhere in the world, and bring